show it up for the one and only Bernie.
So let me explain something to you about the Mac Man. I love who I am. I love what I've become. And most of all, I have nothing but respect for those who have followed me. I don't do things for dollars and cents. I owe my craft to my fans and to all the people who've been following me all those years. See, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. I'm a comedian. People know me as Bernie Mac.
That's why I'm gonna open up a daycare center. When I retire from comedy, I'm opening up to prove to you that I'm trustworthy. I will fuck your kid up. You ain't got to fill out no application. The first 3 months free. You don't need no hidden videos around the house to see what the fuck is going on. Because when you come to pick your kid up, I'm gonna look you in the eye and tell you what the fuck is going on. When you come to pick your kid up and he got a knot on the corner of his head, you say, what happened to my son? I'm gonna tell you, I took a hammer and slapped the fuck out of him. What the hell is this? What do you think this is?
What was his real name?
Bernard McCullough.
McCullough.
There's nobody like him.
One of the greatest comedians of all time.
Can make a joke out of anything that anybody said.
His timing was impeccable. He was the big daddy.
Whenever the guy got on stage, he just killed.
I'm in a bar minding my business, cooling out, just being cool, like I am, chilling. Woman gonna come to me, she just asked me the goddamn thing she wanna do. She said, Mac, I said, yeah, that's my name. She said, can I ask you a question? I said, yeah. She says, does pussy taste like pumpkin pie? Made me mad as hell. I said, don't ask me no damn question like that. I ain't never had no pumpkin pie. Kick it! You don't understand.
I call it the most famous 8 minutes of comedy ever is the Def Jam I Ain't Scared of You Motherfucker show.
This cat came on the stage and was like, I ain't scared of you motherfuckers! Kick it! I was like, what the fuck? Who the fuck is this?
He didn't plan on doing that night. That was not his intention at all.
Chris Tucker went on stage and killed it, standing ovation. Then there was another guy that went on stage and he got booed out the gym.
The guy walked past me, his face was down. Right there, Martin Lawrence couldn't even get the audience back in order. He said, fuck it, let me bring the next one out. He said, shit, wish you luck who it is.
Bernie was backstage, I'd come too far for this. And he said, I ain't getting booed today, young fella. I said, man, they mean. I said, this is New York, you never know.
When Bernie comes out, what he's reacting to is what they did to the other guy. So when he comes out and says, I ain't scared of you motherfuckers, it's not a joke. He's telling the truth.
They thought that was part of his joke. He said he was saying it for real, like, I ain't scared of y'all. Whatever you do, I ain't scared of you. And from that, it just went on, and they let him go on through his act, and they just loved him.
You don't understand. I ain't scared of you motherfuckers.
We knew how important that 5-minute set was going to be for your life. Like, we knew that that was a game changer.
I told Kid Capri that, hey, every time I say kick it, he was right on time. When I cut it off, I said, you don't understand.
He was like, I killed it. Oh, I killed it. Wait till you see it. So we put the tape on, and we watched it, and I was literally like, I don't get it. It wasn't funny. I don't understand why. And he was like, oh, you don't, see, that's the problem. You don't understand. You don't know comedy. And I was like, no, it just wasn't funny. Well, I ended up being wrong because that ended up being his big catchphrase.
But I love sex. I love it. Can't do shit no more. And I'm blessed. I'm big-boned. I'm heavy structured. I'm hung low. If I pull my shit out, this whole room get dark. Kick it! You don't understand. I ain't scared of you motherfuckers.
At that particular moment in time, the world got to see him, and the world embraced him, and we rode with him from that very moment on.
My dad was born and raised in the city of Chicago, which he never hesitated to tell anybody. As he always said, I'm from Chi-Town.
Chi-Town. Chi-Town.
proud Chicagoan. It was the script he wrote for his life, and he carried that with him like a badge of honor.
Bernie's old school black, you know, and Chicago was his life.
As soon as he finished work, it was crazy. Like, he'd finish shooting his show, 12, 14 hours, jump on a plane, go right back to Chicago. I'm like, man, you know, they got places out here. You can stay a few days. You don't have to put the pressure on yourself. I'll see you next time, little brother.
He became my Chicago guide. You know, I got to town, I called him. We played golf together. He took me to all his, you know, spots around Chicago.
Was he a good golfer?
No.
Because he was the king of talking about how great he was.
Yeah, Bernie's like a lot of guys that play golf. They enjoy it. They hit like 3 good shots, and they think they can play golf. Now he actually talked a great game of golf. Couldn't play a lick.
Well, first of all, the proper thing to do is have confidence. Yeah. Where you look, right? You must have confidence. It's not if you miss the ball. Looking good when you do it. I'll foul.
Bernie's the only person that ever hit me with a golf ball. When we were playing together in Chicago, I made the mistake of walking in front of him down the fairway because I had outdriven him by about 30 yards. And I was walking down the fairway, and the next thing I know, felt like somebody shot me in the back, knocked me to my knees, brought me down. I was like, he's trying to kill me, but it was fun to be out there with.
Good. Whenever he was working for the movies, he would stay out here for however many months the movie filmed. I would have loved to have been able to kind of sit in some of his co-stars' trailers, pick their brain. I wanted to see what it was like to work with him. And then they would always, you know, when you see him in passing, they'd always come up like, oh, your dad is great. And I'm thinking, yeah, you just don't know him.
I really enjoyed seeing Bernie on the big screen. To go from stand-up to becoming a TV star to becoming a movie star, it was just like, whoa. You know what I mean? It's like, it can really happen.
I beg your pardon, sir. You must have me confused with someone else. My name is Ramon, as you can see right here.
I really found him to be much more skilled as an actor than I would have anticipated just based on finding out that he was primarily a comedian.
He has the capability of being so truthful and honest. He was able to connect to those emotions and portray them truthfully, and that's all acting is.
He had a natural feel for, you know, as an actor and as a comedian.
The kind of comedy that Bernie did really made it possible for him to make that transition into being a dramatic actor.
Black man can't earn a decent wage in the state.
That is absolutely
like you gonna try to throw me out on the street?
No one's throwing. I'm trying to do my job,
Yeah,
sir.
do your job. What you want from me, man? Want me to get on the table and dance? You like me to shine your shoes? Want me to smile at you? But you definitely won't let me deal the cars. You might as well call it white jack.
Your father had did one gesture. To this day, I've never seen anybody else do that. He did it in the movie a couple times ago. Yep. Nobody did that. You know, like, get out of here. Yep. And it endeared me to him. This big guy with this one little gesture.
The best characters really start somewhere from something that you have and that you bring to it. And clearly, Bernie just brought his flair.
Yeah, right.
Horrible thing to say. You, sir, of all people, know that we at the NGC have always supported the hiring of colored...
No, I didn't mean...
Okay, come on, sit down.
Sit down. You better talk to him.
It was a well-constructed scene, so it played very easily, and there wasn't really a lot of discussion about it. We just did it, you know, and it was like jazz, you know. Everybody had the chops, and everybody was in the pocket.
You know, being on the set with him and Carl Reiner and Elliot Gould, and you know, they just had stories. And we would just sit around sometimes and be 15, 20 hour late shooting because, and Steven too, the director, he would want to hear them too. So we'd just all sit around and he would just tell stories.
They all genuinely liked each other, and they never, whenever we were shooting, nobody would ever leave the set. They would always collect and start telling stories, and there are few people that tell stories better than Bernie. I remember Bernie talking to Carl Reiner a lot. I think he really respected Carl's work.
Line up. What's up, line up? You looking good there, son. This is my mentor. This is my storyteller.
We had a lot of conversations backstage at the doing Oceans 11, 12, 10, 11, no, 11, 12, and 13.
I remember on Ocean's 12, chillax was a word that like went through the crew like wildfire, that was something that he said on the set one day, and it just entered the lexicon immediately.
It's a Bernie Mac-ism.
A Bernie-ism.
I mean, it was a million of them. You just, you know, I walk alone. I'm diving for loose balls.
Buddy, I'm from Shot-Town.
Wrong hole, pimp.
Some of my bitch.
I'm paddling upstream in a downhill world.
You got to look, but you got to get the joke.
You ain't got the owl left on the limb.
I'm on the 50-yard line, but I'm first and goal. You be like, what?
There's so many times where Bernie said stuff that didn't make any sense on paper, but everybody knew what he was talking about. I mean, you were either along for the ride or you weren't.
Man, if I go broke, that means broke's in style. It's like,
I'm glad to be here because, see, I ain't never had nothing when I was a small boy. See, I was poor, broke.
My dad grew up on the south side of Chicago. I won't say they were dirt poor, but they were pretty poor.
Our house was on 66 in Blackstone, but the city tore it down when the rats took over. We moved to a new place on 69th and Morgan in Inglewood, right above a church called Burning Bush Baptist Church. Somewhere along the line, maybe during the move to our new digs, we lost Daddy. You know how you tell if you're a poor person, you look in the fridge and there's nothing there but bologna? You was talking serious poor. But that bologna was good. You eat it real slow, make it last, you know.
We were so doggone poor, man, we ate cereal with a fork. So we could pass the milk to the next individual. I remember my first three-piece suit. That's how poor we was. I wore the pants, my brother wore the vest, my sister wore the jacket.
Yeah, we was poor. But here's the thing, I didn't think nothing about it. I thought life was good. I thought how sweet life is.
He recognized where he came from. He was, I think, appreciative of it.
When you grow up with nothing, when you have nothing, you know, you appreciate so much more when you're worked for something and you receive the rewards of that. Bernie didn't just, nothing was handed to him. He had to work for it all. He saw his own path out.
He wasn't telling jokes. He was telling stories, and he was just, you know, talking, coming from the heart, and just letting you see, letting you in.
Everybody in my family cuss, man. Every fucking body in my family cuss, man. When my mother passed away, bless her heart, man. You know, my brother went up to the preacher and said, Reverend, that was a hell of a motherfucking funeral you did. My grandma said, you ain't bullshit. Why don't you say that motherfucker good, ain't? I said, what the fuck's happening here? The preacher said, these motherfuckers crazy.
He could dig back to wherever he got his comedy at, whether it was his grandma or his uncle.
Everybody got somebody crazy in their family. Everybody. My brother was crazy. Hey, Bernie. I said, what? Help me put some refrigerator on these people down there. I said, who the fuck you gonna push the refrigerator on? Don't worry about it. You don't know him. You don't know him. Push, motherfucker. I said, man, this shit ain't right. Shut up, push. I said, man, I ain't gonna push hard, man. This motherfucker heavy, man. What the fuck you got in here? Heard Tony say, me?
He was a working class guy, you know, and so he wasn't above you, you know, and I just think he said those things that everybody thinks, but they can't articulate.
Police brutality has its place. No, police brutality, I mean, it has its goddamn place. Like that cat that carjacked and then shot at the police.
Oh, I catch you with my car.
You supposed to kick his ass. You kick his ass. I mean, what you supposed to do if somebody carjack you and then shoot at you? Disgusting? I'm kicking your ass. On NBC.
I never forgot where he came from. He was a good husband. He was a great father. And he allowed those things to bleed into his art.
Women run everything. I'm serious. They do. Run it up.
And what they don't run, they trying to run.
Shit. Man, I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't gonna sit up here and try to put up this cool daddy thing. I'm scared of mine. I don't know what it is, man. I weigh more than her. I know I hit hard.
And that's the most frustrating thing, to be scared of somebody who can't whoop your ass.
I don't know what it is. So I called home and everything, and I said, hello? I said, don't ask me a goddamn thing, just pay attention. I said, don't worry about where the hell I am, I'm in my skin. I'll be home, goddamn it, when I get there. When I get there, I better have something to eat. And it better be hot, and it better be good. You think I'm bullshitting? I said, let me speak to your mama.
He absolutely adored his wife. He talked about Rhonda constantly. I never seen a guy talk about a new woman that much. I mean, like, so, let alone a woman he's been with for 30 years.
So I met this girl named Rhonda. All my senior year, she was a friend of my buddy, Big Nigga.
In high school, I didn't like him. I didn't like him. I didn't like his looks. I just didn't like him. But I did notice all the girls liked him. Then when I really got to talk to him, I said, he's really a nice guy. He's a charmer. He was funny. I said, oh, I see why they like him.
We started eating lunch together and started hanging out, and we were just primarily friends.
And I said, well, I kind of like this guy, you know. So I said, well, I told my mama, I have somebody I want you all to meet. I said, his name is Bernard McCullough. I said, but one thing, Mama, I said, he's real dark. I said, so don't you say anything, because my mother's very outspoken, and she'll just say whatever's on the top of her head. So I wanted to forewarn her, you know, do not be offensive. Just come on in and say how you doing. And she's like, oh, I'm not going to say anything. You know I'm not. I said, no, that's why I'm telling you not to. She's like, okay, I promise I won't. So he rang the doorbell. I opened the door. And my mother, she was coming past the hallway. And did she not say, oh, my God, Rhonda said you was dark. Oh, my God. And I said, Mom. And she said, well, he is. So, and I remember him saying, yeah, I'm dark, but you ain't never seen nobody pretty as me, have you? And she fell out. And from that moment, my mother was in love with him.
I remember visiting your home and seeing right in the foyer this huge black and white picture of, you know, your mom and he at their prom. What a beautiful story, you know. What a beautiful life that is. He found the girl he loved, and he loved her.
So I want to say to my lovely wife, thank you for 21 years of happiness. She was with me when I was just me, and I want to say I love you. Thank you. All right. And this is for real. This is not for the cat.
At the time that he and my mom married in 1977, he was working for General Motors. And after that, he just had all kinds of odd jobs.
I didn't have steady work, you know, but I never was ashamed about taking work.
It was by the time he got to Wonder Bread, I believe I was like 12, I was like in the 6th or 7th grade, and he hated that job.
I said, Rhonda, I quit today. I've done everything everybody always wanted me to do all my life. I'm a comedian. If I don't do this, I'm gonna die.
He wants to do this. Now, if he doesn't make it, he's always going to look at me and say, you stopped me from my dream. You prevented me from doing this. So I said, well, I don't want to be the one to block that. If he's going to do it, I'm going to have to just give him my blessings and let him go on and do it.
His wanting to support his family, I think, was the biggest drive for him.
It's not just trying to get by for the sake of your family. It's trying to get by and pursue a dream.
I'm watching the Big Valley, and I know it's one motherfucking thing. They show every nationality in the world. They show Hispanics, Chinese, Arabs, white men, but they never show the black cowboy. And I know it's one other motherfucking thing. Every time the cowboy going to a bar, he ain't never get no motherfucking change back. And that's why I wasn't no motherfucking black cowboys.
Back then, there wasn't like a lot of... There were black comics, but you were literally like in the Negro Leagues or the Chitlin Circuit or whatever you want to call it. You're either a superstar or nothing, or totally at the bottom of the barrel.
Sometimes with comedians, you can just be known on just art, you know, just the black people will know you. And well, he wanted the world to know who he was.
Bernie played to a black audience. At the same time, there was probably 600 white comedy clubs. And when I say white comedy clubs, I call them white comedy clubs because, you know, if you're in New York City and you have a comedy club and New York's half black and you don't book any black acts, that's like having a whites only sign up, you know.
You had to have a name behind you. You had to have like a Def Jam or something, you know, behind you unless you did the white circuit. The white circuit, you know, the Bernie Macs and the Joe Torres wasn't accepted.
Mr. Bernie Mac, live, the comedy.
I started doing comedy in the comedy clubs in 1977. I couldn't wait until I got my face on that doggone wall. I couldn't wait till they called my name when I walked through the smoke-filled room, the little small table, and pulled that mic out that hole.
I feel good. How you feeling, my brother? What's your name?
I did small market. I did secondary market, places where a lot of people don't want to go.
He did a number of small clubs around town. One was called Spices. There was the Cotton Club. Where we really built a real big following was a small club called Miltroneers.
Every Tuesday night right here at Miltroneers, join me, the Mac Man, with the Mac Man Band, the Macaronis. Ain't nothing phony. Tell like a T.I. is. We gonna have a good motherfucking time tonight.
We started the show with a big music number. Started and stopped the band. It was real cool. Then he stopped finally. Welcome everybody to the show.
Guess what we got in the house, man?
Who's that, man?
The little baby, Tiny.
The little baby?
We got Shaq on the video. In the house. What's up, Shaq? Man, Shaq came to my office, and my daughter shook his hand like a little finger in the air. And he gave me a shirt. I swear to God, I got it framed. Mama, where Mama at? I had her framed. It was like a quilt. I like to see your dick, man. I ain't gay. I just want to see if it fit.
Everybody, y'all, was at Milchoneers. And that was the place where I got my chops, y'all.
Show business is not easy. It's the hardest working business there is. You know, you really have to scrape and dig to get anywhere in show business. And he did it in a way that's harder than anything, coming up through clubs. Those are the hardest places because you have to, that's like a brick at a time. It's like really literally starting from the ground up.
Watching him, I say as a veteran, as a professional, you kind of learned how to, how to go outside Chicago, outside St. Louis, outside of your geographical knowing, and expand your humor. And when we went around the country, it was like, his jokes, he didn't change them. Whether white, black, or whatever crowd we had, it was like, it was universal. So watching him was watching him kind of like, say, communicate his humor to the different parts of the world without it just being geographically set.
His big breaking point was in 1990, he won the Miller Lite Comedy Search, which was a really big contest in Chicago, and that was a huge deal.
Everybody got through with their routine, and they were getting ready to announce the winner. And I had told everybody, I said, he got this. He got this.
Mr. Bernie Mac.
I did a hallelujah dance. I jumped. I was all in the aisle. I did a Holy Ghost dance and everything. And I remember that, and I was screaming, yes, yes, just screamed. Damon Wayans said, do you know her? And he was like, yes, that's my wife.
The prize was $3,000, in which I put my daughter's name for college, the biggest payday of my life.
I think from that moment, it just kind of skyrocketed.
The Bernie Mac variety show consists of a lot of different sorts of entertainers. You have singing, you have dancing, you have comedy, I have juggling acts, I have tap, I have different kinds of entertainment.
We love Bernie Mac. Yeah, Bernie Mac is really, really funny.
Right there on the money. Now put together another show, Midnight Mac. Went to HBO, pitched it, HBO bought it. The show was before its time.
Hi, sweetheart, how you doing?
Okay.
What's your name?
Tyretta.
Tyretta, another one, no fucked up name. Why couldn't you be Margaret or some shit like that? I've been practicing ventriloquism. What's that? That's when you got a dummy and you talk with the dummy. Oh. Man, I'm telling you, and I'm good, y'all. Bring it up. Come on, bring it up. Bring it up. This is Little Bernie. Little Bernie. This is Little Bernie. Okay. I'm gonna fuck y'all up tonight, man. Here, my debut. I've been practicing ventriloquism. Ventriloquism. Ladies and gentlemen, Little Bernie.
Damn! You said I only had to be in that box for 15 seconds. I done been in there over an hour. It's like an oven in that box. What's wrong with you? You don't show that man to come in.
I was an opening act for Bernie probably for about 5 steady years.
I met Ali in '77. He opened up as my opening act. Good friend of mine who writes for me and Chris Rock, and who wrote this movie, Head of State.
How does being a bail bondsman qualify you to be the Vice President of the United States of America?
That's right, I am a bail bondsman. People come to me when they're in trouble, like the United States. We bail people out. We bail out Mexico. We bail out the savings and loan. We bail out the airline industry. Now, you ask me, sir, what qualified me to run for vice president? When the country's in trouble, I bail them out.
Hold that thought. We have a caller from Detroit. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, Mitch. What you looking around for? It's Reggie, motherfucker. Where my money at, man?
Don't come with that bullshit. You say I'm on TV?
He should have played the president because, I mean, he was the president of the set. Everything gravitated to Bernie. So when you say cut, movie sets, things have to be set up. It's a lot of downtime. And I'm over here talking to the DP, thinking about, okay, the next shot's going to be this, and we're going to get a crane, but everybody would be crowded around Bernie. And Bernie would just be telling stories, man. There's a scene where somebody goes, what is your feelings about NATO? And Bernie goes, well, NATO Jones is a good man. Oh, what's your feelings about NATO? Do you know NATO? I mean, he ad-libbed the whole thing.
What about NATO? How do you feel about NATO?
I never met NATO. I never met NATO. I don't know nothing about it. I don't talk about people behind their back.
NATO is the North Atlantic Treaty Organization.
Oh, you didn't say that. I thought you were talking about the guy. I know this guy named NATO Jacobs.
Well, you have to know these things if you're running for public
office. Do you know
office.
NATO Jacobs?
Do you know NATO Jacobs? I know what NATO is.
Do you know NATO Jacobs?
I'm sorry, I haven't met the gentleman.
That's what I said. Didn't I say that? You don't know nothing about NATO? I don't know nothing about NATO.
That was all him. It wasn't in the script. It was just Bernie doing Bernie. It takes a lot of balls to cast a guy that's funnier than you in your own movie.
Mr. President.
Mr. Vice President.
You the man.
Oh, you the man.
When we went to DreamWorks to tell them that we wanted Bernie for the role of vice president, basically their question was, who is Bernie Mac? Now, as luck would have it, that particular week, Bernie was on the cover of TV Guide. He was appearing on Oprah. I think they had recently, it wasn't too long before that they had just come off of the Kings of Comedy tour. So literally at that moment, Bernie was one of, if not the hottest comic in America.
Please welcome Bernie Mac. This ain't Jay Leno. They know you.
The disconnect, for what it's worth, from the executive suites to what's actually happening down the streets was that far.
The casting directors were like, yeah, his vernacular, we just, yeah, it's kind of hard to understand what he's saying.
He's big, he's dark, he didn't speak, like people were used to, so those might have been things that were his, they could have been detrimental to his career.
I've certainly been in enough network meetings where you bring his name up and they go, I don't think, nobody can understand that guy.
People understand him. It's like, there's 5,000 people in here laughing. They seem to be understanding.
2 million black people in Chicago know what you said.
I know good 15 million people who understand him perfectly.
I know the first thing you said, that's a black motherfucker that came out here. I know I'm a black motherfucker, I know I'm black. I started to really shock y'all this evening, I started wearing all black and some blue contact lenses. I'd have fucked y'all up. You know you're a black motherfucker when you put fingerprints on charcoal.
The darker you are, the less people wanted to deal with you, or you were ascribed a whole bunch of behaviors. So like that whole, for him to say, I'm so black I leave fingerprints on coal, like there's a whole slew of jokes like that among black people, which, comedy comes from pain. There's a bitterness about those jokes, and fair-skinned people who could pass for white had a whole another journey.
Then as he, started getting popular and getting more roles, those would be the directors like, yeah, bring your vernacular with you. Don't change that. That's, Mac it out. Be Bernie Mac. So it was hilarious, like, wow. Who would have thought all those years ago you lost that part because they were like, his vernacular, no. And that's the very thing that made him who he was.
Man, you ain't never heard no Black Irish.
Black Irish?
That's right. Who you think invented the Mac Rhea? Lucky Charms? Huh? Shamrock Shake?
He was so quick, he could just, you'd say something to him and then he'd throw something out to you and you're like, where did that come from?
Give me your papers. What? Your papers.
Let me tell you something. You got a whole bunch of nerve to ask me about my doggone papers. My family suffered, man, for lack of potatoes, foot and mouth disease, cake of sores, circumcision.
Circumcision?
That's right. My wife just had a set of twins, man. They both leprechauns.
Leprechaun.
Get a whip. Irish Spring. And you'll believe that you can wipe your ass with a 4-leaf clover.
I don't know if he ever even stayed on script. Quite possibly, maybe never even said one of the words that was written. So. Anytime that we could be close to Bernie was a good scene for us. We were always trying to be right by his side. We're like, let's not block him over there. We need him over here. We wanted him in the middle of us.
I'm serious. What are you all talking about?
He needed time for his plan, so he set up Seamus. And then turned him loose on Dylan.
I think you're onto something, Angels.
Damn! So Carter's the bad guy.
Yes. What's so funny about his humor is he tells the truth. That's why you laugh. And he makes you believe, or he makes you understand things that you wouldn't have otherwise understood because he's laid it out in truth to you.
I got my sisters cheering, living with me now. I'm about to go crazy like a motherfucker around here, See, my sister on drugs. I ain't ashamed to tell you. Some of your family members fucked up too around here.
I call that rock star comedy. We were like the Rolling Stones of comedy. I mean, it was private jets and everybody had their separate limos. It was wild time.
I remember driving out when we were doing Madison Square Garden, and it said the Kings of Comedy sold out. And I remember all four of us, all but just pinching ourselves because we couldn't believe that we were in Madison Square Garden.
I will fuck your kid up.
I will fuck a kid up. That to me, him downstairs.
It was classic, because everybody know them kids, man. You know what I mean? It's like them kids are in everybody's house, you know.
2, 4, and 6. Ooh, shit, come help me babysit these motherfuckers.
When people find out I'm his daughter, that's the first thing they ask, like, how are those kids? How are they?
He was so mean, but it was so funny. If he would have did it any other way, it wouldn't have been funny at all. It was just like, I mean, there was people that were literally crying because they felt so sorry for the characters he was doing. We could see the kids, we could see the little boy, we could see him standing in the, I mean, he drew a vivid picture with that joke.
I came in the house the other day, man, at 1:30 in the morning. The 2-year-old gonna send the guy downstairs for some milk and cookies. I'm going upstairs, he coming down, he gonna walk past me like I'm a visitor. I said, where you going? He said, to get some milk and cookies. He said it so funny, I wanted to hear it again. I said, get some what? He said, some milk and cookies. I love the motherfucker, but you know, I told him, I said, man, it's too goddamn late for some damn cookies and milk, man. Take your punk ass upstairs and get some rest. That's how I talk to him. Fuck that timeout shit.
Oh my God, I can't believe he just said that.
That kills me. And he's just like unabashed with it, and that's the best shit ever. It's great that he batted cleanup because he put his stamp on that.
We toured for 3 years, and when we shot the movie, you know, it was good to have, you know, someone with the cachet of Spike to come, you know, to come be involved. But for us, it was just, you know, it was another set of shows.
Got it started. He's real good. He's real funny. I'm looking to crack my side this evening. I know he's gonna be funny.
We shot it twice, so we had to wear the same outfit the next night. That threw a lot of us off. Like, I mean, you know, because again, you know, we were very serious about our clothes, and it was always about who shows up and what.
It used to be hilarious because we would wait on the elevator to see what Bernie was wearing. We would all try to get to the elevator to get down there to see what Bernie was going to have on. And you can see people going, you know, white people at the Ritz ain't never seen no shit like this. Like this, what is this, Huggy Bear from Starsky and Hutch? What is this? But you couldn't tell him he didn't look good. You couldn't tell him.
He would buy like 5 of the same pair of pants in different colors, the shirts to match, and the shoes, all the shoes to match the pants.
People make assumptions when people come on stage. The audience makes assumptions about who's funny and who's not immediately. And you look at Bernie and go, oh, this guy's going to be funny.
He had like these airbrush jeans on that was kamikaze. He had everybody on his jeans. Thomas Jefferson Kid and Play. It was ridiculous.
Some black shoes, a white shirt with a colored collar, and he had a hanky in one hand. He was black as fuck. I think it might have been an S-curl. I don't know, Bernie. It might have been an S-curl.
Hair was always done, and then I got to go to so-and-so is my nails person, and this person does my feet. Like, this is before he got famous.
This dude loved a damn manicure.
Very meticulous and particular about his nail, his manicure.
When we were working on the second film and we were trying to figure out how to introduce everybody, that whole idea of him being in the nail salon came from him. He really liked to have his nails, you know, looking sharp.
Fix me up, shine my shoes, do my nails, my hair right, do mine, everything in this goddamn motherfucker. Do mine, whole 9 yards, and don't ever goddamn forget me. Walking on your goddamn self. Talk to me like I'm crazy. Macaroni! Macaroni! I'm gonna call you one more time. Pay attention! Come on. Do it again.
It was before the term metrosexual. You couldn't call Bernie metrosexual now. That's one thing you wouldn't get away with.
Something about guys with big muscles. It seems like the bigger the muscles, the more feminine the clothes. Okay. You know, they got tank tops. I'm working out the other day, some bitch titties stick it all out. belly showing, pink shorts on, pink. They asked me could I spot him. Hell yeah, can't miss your ass, you know?
The other thing that Bernie was very brave about was taking from his own life, the situation with the sister and the kids, and I was like, wow. To dramatize that in this way and find the humor in that.
You're going to bust her head till the white meat shows?
That's my boys.
Mr. Mack.
Come on, look.
Mr. Mack, between that and the profanity...
Oh, hold on. I don't use no profanity in front of those children.
Possibly was a little bit ahead of its time, you know, when you look at the dynamics of that family.
You know, when he first went on Fox, I was like, do they know what they got? Do they know what they're going to... Bernie Mac is talking about spanking kids and locking them up, and, you know, people are so sensitive and politically correct.
Can we touch?
No, you can't touch nothing. Matter of fact, don't even look at it. When you walk past it, close your eyes.
It's like W.C. Fields. It's like, get away, kid, you're bothering me. You know, it's like, I'm being mean to a kid and it's really funny. You know, you gotta be really funny to be mean to a kid and be funny.
You keep on talking to me with that attitude, little girl. I may not be your daddy, but I'll whoop your ass just like your daddy.
And you'll go to jail like you was my daddy, too.
Ooh.
A lot of the teenage issues that I had on the show was, you know, stuff that I was going through in real life.
Didn't I tell you don't touch nothing without my permission?
You didn't say the phone.
I didn't say the phone.
You said don't touch the TV, VCR, the DVD, your old school, your new school, and your heavy rap. But you never said we can touch the phone.
Technically, she's right.
He was like the father in the middle of a hailstorm, you know.
A lot of, you know, the scenes where we would, you know, be going toe-to-toe was mostly just us ad-libbing. It was probably some of the best stuff that we had together when we would just feed off of each other.
What he allowed them to do is he allowed them to connect with him. Like, take this ride with me. How do you feel? How do you see it? Let's do it. And she was like, yeah, I'm already ready. Like, yeah.
You'd say something, I'd be like, oh, Vanessa's a goner.
Yeah.
Ooh, Nessa, you should have
Run,
said
Nessa.
that, girl. Nessa, you gonna get it, girl.
And wanted to have an opportunity to play with Bernie, you know, play with really a master in his craft.
Mama Liver, why don't you let us take care of the funeral arrangement? I mean, it'll do my heart real good, please.
Oh, no. Oh, you're such an angel, but Dee's taking care of everything.
That's right. It's gonna be beautiful, Mama. I'm still waiting for Daddy's check from the government, man. You know how slow they can be. Well, hey, maybe you don't remember. You know, you big time and everything now, but could you float me for a minute, man?
He did not just say that. He did not just ask me for money.
The Cousin D was his brainstorm. He's like, he didn't name names either. Well, maybe he did, but I won't say the name. But he did say, this is a real human being you're playing. I said, how big can it be? He goes, you can't go big enough.
This looks like somebody's shop class project. Thing can't cost more than $200. Come on, man.
Well, what do you suggest, D?
Bernie, when Biggie died, R.I.P., they put the brother in a gold coffin.
Well, we do special requests, but it can get a bit expensive.
Hey, man, hey. My father died. Now, I know we ain't up in here trying to pinch pennies. Ain't that right, Bern?
I said, hey, Bernie, I want to try this. You know, is that cool? I think this will be funny. He said, man, if you want to slide in here and do the splits, I'll be right behind you, like. And I said, that's Bernie.
That was him,
That's him. Well, then I looked out at the camera when he looked. I said, who you talking to? And he was like, you can't violate. That's my thing. You can't look into the camera.
Was classic.
I love that.
Oh, that was classic.
And we both really thought that would be great. For me, I so violated his space in every scene, to then I violate his whole, you know, his counsel with America. How dare I? How dare you, Cousin D? That's what I do.
What you looking at?
And he changed the way he shot it, and he talked into the camera, and he did it differently. I'm sure that was his way.
And him talking to the camera and saying, I don't understand what and it was so endearing and so him.
He knew that if he looked directly in the face of America, it would get him.
You ever see a chicken with his neck wrong, laying to the side all lazy and weak? That's what I'm gonna do to them kids. Talk back to me one more time. Snap, I'm gonna snap their neck off.
He used to love to pull pranks on people. Did he try?
Remember that time when he called everybody in and said that he was leaving the show, and everybody was all upset and walking around
Crying.
like, oh man, what are we gonna do?
People crying. They packing their bags. They like the show is over. It's a wrap.
I was in my room and I was asleep, and I hear the door open, like into the suite I was in, and I go, hey man, this room is taken. He said, I know this room is taken, it's my room, but I didn't know who it was. I'm like, who the fuck is this talking crazy to me in my room? I'm like, hey partner, this is my room. He went, hey partner, it's my room. And I put a towel on to jump up, and it was Bernie fucking around, and he started cracking up.
He came home in the makeup, and it was really a good job, because his eye was black and swollen, and his lip was bust. Whoever did the makeup did a really good job, because I actually thought he had got beat up. And that was his intentions, to make me believe that he had got beat up when he came in. So I'm all upset. Let me take you to the emergency room. I was crying. Then I remember we had our great niece there. She was like 3, and she was crying, oh, Governor, oh, just crying. And he was like, oh, and he had his friends holding him up like he really had gotten beaten. And I'm like, where were you all when he got beaten? Where? I was like, I'm getting ready to call the police right now. So I had the phone. Then he's like, no, Rhonda, look. And he started peeling off the makeup. Oh, my God.
The best way to do a prank is you got to use something that's important to people. And since harmony and family and all those things were important to him, we just had this, you know, pretended just 2 people in the staff were having this incredibly bitter argument.
You know what? The next time, the next time you have a problem with me, you don't have to go to Neil.
Well, maybe I have to. I don't want to bring him into it.
You can come to me.
I don't want to bring him into it.
You don't have to go to Neil.
I don't give a flying shit. Got plenty of people been doing this for fucking 3 years. I know how to do him. Go on, move on. Patty, turn the fucking lights off. Bernie, I ain't doing this. I ain't playing this chick. I ain't doing this no more. Fucking turn them off. Everybody, come on, Vonda. Come on.
They made the situation sort of blow up in front of him for him to kind of go, wait, hold on a second.
I'm like sitting here, now both of my peas going on. I'm like, y'all scored big on that shit. My heart sitting up here, this big time I can't do this. She talking about shit. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? I said, big. You looking at? Looking at?
The chemistry between the 2 of us is very visible there on screen, and it was a genuine thing that happened when we performed together. We had a great time performing. In that studio, he was like, he was Smokey, he was Luther, he was, you know, he was Frankie Lyman, he was Marvin Gaye, because in his mind, he could sing.
Yeah.
I can sing as high as I want to, and I can sing as low as I want to.
I think he sang all the time. There was always a little bit of a song through his words, you know what I mean?
Always singing. Great singer, and I like that. You'll never find. And I'm like, oh my God, look at you. Like, his voice was great.
He was so happy in that studio. I laughed so hard in that studio. I was like, oh, okay. All right, go ahead. Knock it out.
Did you tell them that I'm white?
You're white?
Stop the car! Oh my God! Oh my God! It was a joke, sir. I was kidding.
Yeah, sister, you funny.
Simon, I mention it because I don't think it's gonna matter.
Oh, it's gonna matter. It's gonna matter.
When I did the scene with Bernie Mac, and when I walked up to him, man, he just embraced me like he knew me. He was like, man, what's happening? And when I didn't remember the lines, he had everybody on the floor. It was like, how you gonna be in a movie that can't read?
Well, who are you? Oh, Wesley Thompson, that's my cast. But if you're still down with me making your girl happy, I'm good to go.
We just wanted to capture an American portrayal of what's going on today.
How do we know that Adam and Eve weren't black?
Oh.
You ever try to take a rib away from a black man?
It's not, baby.
Okay, what are 3 things that a black man can't get?
What is that?
A black eye, a fat lip, and a job.
I told you I'm gonna kick this boy.
The 3 months that he played my father in a movie, he taught me enough to last a lifetime. Bernie was a good parent to a whole bunch of other kids that he just picked up along the way, either by playing father to them, uncle to them, or just a leader to them, a friend. He just had a natural skill for good parenting.
I'm one of the greatest hitters alive.
We worked on Mr. 3000 together. It was a scene where at his house, and we sort of dancing and sort of flirty and coy. Him being charming and knowing that he's all that, or thinking that he's all that. And he is.
You need to relax on that before you pop it out.
Sit your ass down.
Man, watch that.
Push you out, sucker punk. Right here.
Bernie was so open to ideas. I had an idea about how to shoot this silly little piece we did, and he was completely open to it. He could have shut me down, you know, but he said, let's try that and let's see what happens, and he left it in, and I really respected that.
That was his first, like, major starring role. It proved that he did have some acting chops, and that's the one regret that I have about his career, is that I wish he'd gotten to have that one really breakout role where he really got to show people what he was really capable of, because I still don't think people really know that he really did have a range on him.
I would have loved to make another movie with Bernie, man.
I've always been sort of looking around for a really interesting cop film to make, and I thought Bernie would be great, you know, playing a dramatic role.
You're writing stuff, and you're like, oh, Bernie would be perfect right here. Oh, man. But there's only one Bernie.
I was preparing for a film that I'm filming right now. I went to go do some research in West Texas, and I go to Odessa, and one of the girls comes up, and she's, you know, just white woman, I would say, she's like, you know, chatting me up, and we're talking about, she's like, you know, I just want to know, like, out of all the people you worked with, she's like, what was it like to work with? And I was like, she's going to say like Tom Cruise or Jude Law or, you know, Jim Carrey. Somebody. She's like, what was it like to work with Bernie Mac? And I was like, yes! I was like, I love you so much right now. She was like, she was just waiting, like she was holding on, waiting. She wanted so badly to know what it was like to work with Bernie. And she was like, you know, just like, what was it like? And I was like, you know what? He was the loveliest man. And she goes, I just knew it. I knew it. I just knew it. And I said, and his hands were soft. She's like, I knew his hands were soft. She was just like, I was like, they're always lotion. She's like, oh, I love a good smelling man. Like, she was just like, she was so happy to hear that Bernie was such a lovely person.
I just, you know, I miss him a lot. Sometimes, like, I'll hear his voice on something, and I'll be like, oh, my God. Oh, man.
I miss his friendship.
I got off a plane in Europe, man, and the first thing they said, hey, man, we miss Bernie Mac.
I miss his honesty.
Even if you had just met him, he would always make you feel like you had known him for years.
I miss his compassion.
What an inspirational story, you know, to see somebody who actually made it happen, which was an affirmation that your dreams can come true.
I miss him.
All those qualities in him, I'm sure that have been very inspiring to the Black community. And so he gave a lot with the little time that he was with us. He left us with a lot.
It's so weird. Just like, even now, you know, his number's in my phone right now. I won't get rid of the number. It's like...
It was his vibe that I remember more than anything else. Just that. I was always happy to see him. I always felt like he kind of, you know, the molecules shifted in a really good way when he was around.
He wasn't always trying to get the spotlight shine on him. And just the opposite. He was happy to sit back and be supportive and let other people do their thing. And that's rare.
You have somebody who's so full of life and who is so engaged in life, and then they leave you so soon. It never really makes sense, you know? You kind of like, that's why people want to keep talking about him, because it doesn't seem like it's time for him to have gone.
Life is sometimes very unfair. And you know, the adage that only the good die young sometimes it hits you right in the face.
Bernie, that was one that, Lord.
It's definitely an honor to be here to pay respect to the family and my brother Bernie. This dude is a very, very popular guy. Y'all know y'all was calling me like, say it, let me get 4 tickets to the funeral, man. I was like, now that don't make no sense right there. He's still the hottest ticket in town.
It is true that the good die young. 50 years is not enough time. And the thing that I can say about Bernie is this, that the hardest thing for a black man to do is to be an individual. Is to stand on your own and to say what you mean and to not be influenced by anybody, to make your own mind up and your own way. And Bernie Mac was a man, believe me when I tell you. He stood on his own. He said what he believed. He used to always say, I don't care if you like me, I like me.
Bernie ran what we call an anchor leg. He was our closer. You know, in a relay, you give it stick to the next dude, and you get a baton to the next dude, and you save the fastest cat for last just in case you get behind. Every night, we handed that mic to B-Man, because no matter how funny the three of us was, Bernie had something else for him. Man, nobody wanted to follow Bernie Mac.
I'm not a fan of funerals. So at the end of Bernie Mac's ride, that's it. That's all. Show over.
You don't do your material around a lot of comedians. That's like stealing in front of the police. You don't do it. They mean well, but they sit on the side. Ooh, that's funny. Next thing you know, you see it on HBO or something. You be sitting at home. That shit's mine, you know? But ain't nobody gonna believe. First come, first serve. You know? So when you do new stuff, you never, I'm telling you, for you comics coming up, never bring your stuff out in front of a house full of comedians. You will never work a lot. Especially established comedians like myself, you'll never work a lot. Make sure you keep that. But I want that question to be asked on the couch. They be stealing your shit for real? Yep.
Shot down. Shot down. My time. No other way. No other way.
Weinstein's probably the first person that I ever looked at a photograph of and was like, yeah, he rapes. I'm not sure this motherfucker has a choice. Not a handsome man. Not a lot of meat and extra skin on his face. Yeah, he's ugly. You know the sad part is, he's done so well in life, he probably doesn't know he's ugly. You know, when you're good looking, everybody will tell you, oh, you look wonderful, you're so great looking. But when you're ugly, you gotta figure that shit out for yourself. It's a lot of putting clues together, it really is. Why am I not getting in the club? I got all the right shit on. Because if it was Brad Pitt doing that shit, he wouldn't have heard a peep. The girl would just come back down like, I got the part. Yuck. Yet, it is important that I acknowledge, ladies, you are absolutely right. There you go. They gotta all be mindful of that, guys, because this could happen to any of us. It could happen to me. I can see that. I see myself showing up. Hi, I'm here for my 3 a.m. with Mr. Weinstein. Hey, Harvey, I got your text. I'm here to talk about the script. Seems like it's gonna be hard to read in candlelight, but I guess I could try. Sound like a fucking nightmare. Could you imagine that shit? Could you imagine if he was in a business meeting and a motherfucker pulled their dick out? In the middle of the meeting, I'd be like, yo, my man, this is the most unprofessional shit I've ever seen in all my days. Just let me finish, Dave Chappelle. I'll put you in all 3 Lord of the Rings. Hurry up, nigga. I have other meetings to know. I have a 4:30 a.m. at Brett Ratner's house. And, I believe it's wardrobe fitting.